Welcome back to EFD, where we're looking at 10 veterans that have come alive once more this season. But how have they adjusted their games to keep up with the youth of today? Let's find out. 10. Alexis Sanchez. It looked like Alexis Sanchez's career was all but over, having struggled for any sort of consistency following his departure from Arsenal back in 2018. He found the net just 5 times in a year and a half with Manchester United, and whilst he featured more with Inter Milan, was still little more than a rotation option at San Siro. This season though, the 34-year-old is a star performer for a Marseille side that are currently PSG's closest challengers in Ligue 1. The Chilean has 10 goals to his name across all competitions, his biggest tally since 2017-18, and most of this is thanks to a permanent switch to centre forward. This season it means Sanchez is shooting from just 14.5 yards out, closer than ever before, leading to almost half his attempts hitting the target, again an improvement on previous campaigns. It took a while, but he's finally found somewhere where he can finally play to his strengths. 9. Dusan Tadic. For Ajax, the loss of Antony created a real headache on their right flank. Fortunately, in Dusan Tadic, they have a superb creator who, despite turning 34, has risen boldly to the challenge. After 2 years exclusively hugging the left wing, Tadic is back on either flank. The results have been 5 goals and 12 assists so far, with the former Southampton man gunning to lead the assist charts in the Eredivisie for the 4th season straight. Clearly relishing his senior role in Die Amsterdammer's squad, Tadic is receiving the ball more than ever, while his carries have risen to their highest point in 5 years. He isn't taking on opponents as often, now down to 1.5 per 90 from 2.4 in 2021, but this is clearly a reaction to his ailing speed. Still, his eye for a pass hasn't diminished, with the Serb completing a massive 11 crosses and 3 key passes per 90 this term. Using all of his experience, the 94-capped international is mastering the art of finding space to unlock the opposition. If the new Ajax boss Johnny Heitinga has any sense, his plan should be to give Tadic the ball whenever possible. 8. Tim Ream. Rumour has it Pep Guardiola told Tim Ream he would be playing for Manchester City if he was 24, not 35. Which begs the question, how has the former Bolton man ripped up perceptions of his ability so late on in his career? Statistically, not loads has changed. He has certainly benefited from the protection of João Palhinha, the busiest tackler in the Premier League, while Fulham are among the most active pressers in the opponent's third. This has contributed towards Ream attempting around half the tackles or challenges he was involved in during his last spell in the English top flight, while his touches per game are down too, particularly further up the pitch. And it's clear this reduced responsibility has allowed his confidence to flourish. The new emboldened Ream is winning more aerial duels and making more blocks than ever, showing an improved game intelligence. He also continues to complete 87% of his passing, helping the Cottagers build out from the back. In short, Fulham's system under Thiago Silva has allowed Ream to focus purely on providing a solid last line of defence, and he has excelled. It means the next stage of his career could be the best one yet. 7. Jordi Masip. He is not the biggest name on the continent, but Real Valladolid keeper Jordi Masip deserves respect for unleashing his best football at the age of 34. A product of La Masia, it took until 2017 for Masip to really enjoy life as a number 1 after he left Barcelona to sign with Real Valladolid. And 5 years on, the Whites and Violets are beginning to reap those rewards. One of the most consistent keepers in La Liga, Masip is holding down a save rate of 74.7%, making over 3 saves a game. Given Valladolid were promoted last season, Masip's importance cannot be understated, especially with the club 4 points clear of the drop zone at the time of writing. The Catalonian looks in complete control of his game. He's passing out from the back more than ever, now only launching 55% of his goal kicks compared to over 80% 2 seasons ago. And what's more, he's happy with the dark arts too, picking up 2 yellow cards this term and is defending off his line higher than ever before at an average of 14 yards. And in a remarkable 3 penalty saves from 5 faced, and Masip looks like a man glowing with confidence. 6. Iago Aspas. Since returning to Celta Vigo in 2016, the irrepressible Iago Aspas has gone on to score an astonishing 116 times in La Liga. That includes countless more assists and a further 9 goals this term, currently the 5th biggest haul in the Spanish top tier. But what's interesting about the magician of Moania this season is how he's adjusted his game in reaction to his aging body. Having previously hugged the right wing before arriving late in the box, now Aspas has adopted a more central role, conducting play through the middle. His His 9 goals have come from an average of 19 yards, well outside the box, while his touches in the penalty area have plummeted below his normal rate of 4.7 per 90. Aspas is also less involved in tackles or defending than before, clearly preserving his body for a full campaign. These changes have allowed the former Liverpool man to put all his efforts into finding the net, while preserving his career as his 40s loom. Should he reach that landmark, and his legacy in Galicia will reach even greater heights. 5. Raphael Giovic. It's rare that we feature one goalkeeper on these lists, let alone two. But with those who play the position often reaching their peak much later than their outfield counterparts, it can't be too much of a surprise. So now we're taking a look at Raphael Giovic, who has been something of a journeyman throughout his career, with current club FC Augsburg his 11th. The 35-year-old is into just his 4th season as a Bundesliga starter, the first of which came with Union Berlin in 2019-20 before his switch to Bavaria and Augsburg, and the current campaign is by far his best. He's currently recording a save percentage of 75%, the highest of his top-flight career, having saved his side almost 4 goals against, the biggest difference in the Bully. But it's not just here he's impressing. He's making more defensive actions outside the box than ever before, as well as adapting to being the first line of attack, passing shorter and throwing more than in previous seasons. Once again, Augsburg seemed destined for mid-table mediocrity, but if it wasn't for Giovic, it could be a whole lot worse. 4. Maxim Choupo-Moting. Throughout his career, Maxim Choupo-Moting has never been a prolific goalscorer. His peak season came in 2013-14 when he notched 10 Bundesliga strikes for Mainz. Since then, he's underwhelmed at Schalke and Stoke before failing upwards to PSG in 2018, although his connections to former Mainz boss Thomas Tuchel may have had something to do with this. Obviously, he was nothing more than a backup for Neymar and Mbappe, and in 2020 Bayern Munich decided he could do the same for Robert Lewandowski. The Cameroon international would make 33 Bundesliga substitute appearances over 2 years before being thrust into the starting lineup following Lever's departure. And he hasn't disappointed, exploding from nowhere to produce his highest goal-scoring tally ever with 13 to his name. Admittedly, he's surrounded by incredible talent in Bavaria, but he still had to step up, scoring with 70% of his efforts on target, as well as rivaling the likes of Sadio Mane and Joshua Kimmich for shot-creating actions, with almost 3 per 90. It's easier to be good in a great team, but it's just as easy to be exposed. It's fair to say Choupo-Moting is exceeding when many thought he wasn't capable. 3. Mario Rui. It's understandable to see Victor Osimhen and Kvicha Kvaratskhelia being hailed for their performances this season as Napoli marched towards their first Scudetto since 1990. However, one of the seemingly unsung heroes of their title charge is the 31-year-old left-back Mario Rui, undoubtedly having his best campaign to date with Iparthenope. Given more license to attack, only one player in Serie A is putting more balls into the final third than the Portuguese's 7.4 a game, whilst also completing 4.8 shot creating actions per 90, the highest figure for a defender in the division. This has given him 6 assists for the campaign, a high watermark for his career. Rui is also maintaining career highs for progressive passing with almost 8 a match, passes into the penalty area at 2.5, while his expected assists are running at almost 0.25 per 90, meaning 1 in 4 games. This has of course come at the expense of his defensive contributions, but it's paying off for Luciano Spalletti's side, whose fans certainly won't complain if they lift the trophy in May. 2. Thiago Silva. Given all the millions Chelsea have invested in youth, it's refreshing to see that Thiago Silva is still integral to their present. Now 38 years old, the Brazilian continues to lead by example. This season, he is the most used player in the Blue squad, fresh off making 48 appearances in all competitions last term, and it's all supplementing his legacy as one of the best centre-halves of his generation. What's remarkable about the former PSG man is his defending has become even more aggressive. He is putting in over 3 tackles and interceptions per 90 for the first time in his career at Chelsea, and is still winning 69% of his aerials and is tackling 79% of dribblers faced, an elite stat in itself. But what's interesting is what he's doing less. His progressive carries have fallen, as have his entries into the opposition third. Silva's average passes per game have also declined, although he continues to rarely, if ever, miss his man. Brazil's captain may be running less and have reduced his involvement in the technical side of the game, but he is channeling that energy into another monumental defensive effort. And given Chelsea's current issues, his adaptation couldn't be more timelier. 1. Olivier Giroud. Upon his move to AC Milan in 2021, few saw how Olivier Giroud would contribute consistently. The forward had averaged just 9 Premier League starts a campaign between 2016, his last year as a starter with Arsenal, and his departure from Chelsea 18 months ago. Yet here he is, now 36 years old, a Serie A champion, with 12 goals, his best return since 2016-17, and half of the season to add to that tally. So what has changed? The honest answer is not a lot. However, Milan boss Stefano Pioli has chosen to lean on the Frenchman's strengths, most notably his aerial ability. Giroud hasn't won more than the 3.5 aerial duels per 90 he is this year since 2014-15, whilst more game time is also seeing him get off more shots too, with 3.6 his best since 17-18. With age seems to have come a greater understanding of the game, always finding himself in the right positions at the right time, as England found out during their World Cup quarter-final against Le Bleu in December. At the very least, Giroud has shown that he was massively underappreciated during his last years in the Premier League. So that was our look at 10 veteran stars transforming their game this term to reach even greater heights. But who have we missed? Let us know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, why not hit the like button and subscribe to EFD if you haven't done so already. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.